Rahim. Thank you, Sardar Amjad Yusuf, very respected and learned panelist, and the viewers. Indeed, it's a great pleasure to be here, especially on the topic which is of utmost significance, not only for the region, but for the globe as well, because the emerging conflicts in South Asia has a lot of relevance to the global peace and stability. Once I look upon the issue, then one has to look into certain factors. What are the fault lines of the issue? Where are the drivers of instability and fragility? To dwell upon this aspect, I go with my fundamental argument is, though Pakistan is considered as the #1 adversary to India, but in her ambitious quest for expansionism, it has not spared any of the regional states, whether it is Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, China, all are the victim of this expansionist designs. When we look upon the issue, so we can very much observe instability and the factors which are reshaping and destabilizing the South Asian region. For this very purpose, we have to look at the Indian politics, which has again the three-pronged strategy. Foremost is making number of amendments in the Constitution in a manner to demonize the minorities. Second, also to promote its media with fear and the feelings of hatred for the minorities. And the third is to silence any voice which does not meet the parameters of the policymaker. And for this very purpose, it has again followed a three-pronged strategy. And its contours are, first of all, is to wage war on the domestic front against the minorities. And you can see what all has happened since 1947 to date. Whether it is killings in 47 in Gujarat, when Modi was the chief minister, whether it is a matter of Babri Masjid, and of late, the way they have colonized Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, it is the manifestation of its agenda of materializing the Hindutva ideology, which is the RSS. And the RSS elements are everywhere. It's not only Modi and its team. They are everywhere. They are in the civil military bureaucracy. They are in judiciary. They are everywhere. So this is how they are moving forward. I totally in conformity with the remarks of Ambassador Arif Kamal and Madam Victoria Shepherd, because once we look upon the issue, the core issue is the one which is known to everyone and which is a big question at the conscience of the international community. This is how, first of all, the posture of colonialism are very much visible there. First, they colonized Kashmir. Now they are looking at the other littoral states of Indian Ocean. And they have not, as I at the outset mentioned, they have not spared any of these states. Of late, China-India standoff at Ladakh is the manifest of its designs, that how they intend to materialize their dreams of hitting not only to CPAC, route of CPAC, but also how to make their outreach to Gilgit-Baltistan area. This is how they are working on it. And now where lies the answer to this question? One has to pose this question to the international community. Since they are raising slogans, now the voices of conscience of everywhere, not only within India, the designs of India, especially the Amit Shah, the way he spoke against the Muslim minority, against the other, passing of NRC, passing of other Citizenship Amendment Act. What all there? His interviews very much clear and poisonous that they are not going to afford the Muslims at all. First, they will try to convert them into Hindu, which is their dream of making a Hindu state inspired with the RSS, Hindutva ideology. If they are not converting them, to push them, marginalize them. If they are not pushed, then just make them out from their country. But by the way, India has never been so. If we look at the history, India in its present territory form, it has never been. Credit goes to only Muslims, followed by Britishers, that today the India is having this uniform sort of territory at the moment. So now the biggest issue is the issue of Kashmir, which is the biggest threat to the region and the globe, because out of 9 nuclear states, 3 are within and closer to in the vicinity of this region: India, Pakistan, and China. So Kashmir will remain the flashpoint unless they resolve their the right of self-determination is not granted to them. And where lies the now issue? It is not only UN. Let every segment of the community in the world to stand with those voices which are for those who always oppose the voices of oppression, suppression, and subjugation the way Indians are doing at the moment. I also call upon not only UN, but I also call upon the European Union and other the voices of the conscious and the international community, and most importantly, Organization of Islamic Conference and the Muslim world as well, to unite on this agenda and to impose sanctions on India, and also they go for boycott the Indian goods and services to make it country. It is an international issue. It is not going to be addressed. So I must end my talk with this, that unless outstanding issues are not resolved, this so-called bigger power, who has lost its outlook as the pluralistic, democratic, secular country, which is no more. The significance of Gandhi, the syndication of Taj Mahal cannot pay to the world unless they bring normalcy and peace to all those communities living in South Asia, and most important is the Kashmir. And lastly, especially the new domicile law, which has been imposed and this Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir for this very reason, not only to convert the majority into minority by allowing the other settler to get in there, and slowly and gradually to make the UN resolution ineffective, undermine and the international law and the Fourth Geneva Convention. For this reason, that majority is no more. Now the minority, the Muslims have turned into minority, so they want to get it. It is a plea to colonize Kashmir and to make it a part of Union territory. So I must salute to those forces who are raising their voices with the subjugated, suppressed, and oppressed Kashmiris who are trying and fighting the war of their survival. Thank you very much.